Hello everyone. Sorry I couldn't get the video out before the Saturday games, but I just got finished watching the Ravens at Chargers game, and man, was that a good game. We'll talk about that later. For now, let's just get right into it. I got a lot to talk about and not a lot of time. So, Dodgers trade with Reds. So, I have always been a huge Puig guy. And it's because, in my opinion, he's a top 3 defender in the league. There is no one who can throw the ball like he can. He's one of the best athletes in the league. And he was only getting more consistent. I think if he had an everyday starting role, he would be an all-star. And that's why I guarantee that he will be an all-star next year with the Reds. Matt Kemp is an all-star caliber player. Alex Wood is an all-star caliber pitcher. Kyle Farmer is a good rotational piece. And all the Dodgers got back were two good prospects, and then Homer Bailey. This was obviously a cap dump, like a salary dump. But if you look at the trade in itself, the Dodgers got fleeced. The Reds just destroyed the Dodgers in this trade. But you can't just look at the trade by itself. What this trade shows, I think, is that the Dodgers are almost guaranteed to get Bryce Harper. And if they don't, I will be very upset. But I think it's very likely that they do. And if they don't, it's one of the worst trades that I can remember. Even if they don't, the trade in itself is worse than what the Reds got. But if we get Bryce Harper, the trade is good for us, great for the Reds. So I think we could have gotten, the Dodgers could have gotten a little more. But I'm not mad about the trade. I'm just sad that we lose a great player in Puig. And he brought so much energy and fun to the game. It's just sad when you lose a player like that. Anyway, moving on. So I want to talk about the Patriots, but I'm going to talk quickly about them, and I'm going to gloss over most of the key points about them, and talk about a few points that I want to talk about. The first is, so the Patriots can't stop the run right now, and at least away. At home, they have no trouble. So I think the problem is ever since Belichick traded Jamie Collins. Like, before we traded Jamie Collins, we were investing in our linebackers, like Belichick has always done, invest in the front 7 with Mike Vrabel and Teddy Bruschi and others. And Jamie Collins and Dante Hightower were a force and won the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. And they played great against Marshawn. But now, after you traded Jamie, Dante Hightower has had injuries and hasn't been the same player, and we've filled the role with Landon Roberts and Kyle Van Noy for the most part. We had Juwan Bentley earlier in the season, who was playing really well. He was a steal in the draft, but he got hurt, obviously. But Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins were early round picks. I don't understand why Bill Belichick isn't investing in linebackers anymore. That being said, the Patriots, all they need to do is get to the playoffs. And then once they get to the playoffs, they're a different team. Always. It's always a different team. And they're so methodical. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or even make the Super Bowl. But I would pick them coming out of the AFC still, even though they're probably going to finish 11-5. All right, moving on. Josh Gordon. Now, a lot of people want to say that he's wasted talent. And to that, I want to say, just shut up. Like, he's going through mental illness. Weed is not even that bad and should not be illegal in the NFL. I mean, the NFL would rather you pop pills, like prescription pills that are way more addictive and way worse for you than weed. And weed is a very good painkiller. It actually helps, as studies have shown, it actually helps for brain trauma. So I really don't like that that people are saying all these insensitive things. Let's hope that Josh Gordon gets better, not be insensitive. All right, moving on. The Suns. So before their loss tonight in triple overtime to the Wizards, when Thomas Bryant had a historic night in shooting 100%, 14 for 14, and Bradley Beal went off for a triple-double, a 30-point triple-double, they were on a winning streak. And I said this before the year in my predictions. I predicted the Suns would be the 9th seed, and then they turned out that they had a rough start, but that's because, excuse me, that is because Devin Booker was hurt for a lot of this year and not the same. Now that he's healthy and back, they're winning, and they're actually a decent team, especially defensively. They have Josh Jackson coming off the bench, which works well like defensively. Josh Jackson needs to become more consistent with his shot. They have Bridges starting, he's playing very well. Booker's playing well. TJ Warren, I've always said, is a pretty good scorer and definitely a player I would want on my team. DeAndre Ayton is great. He's my pick for Rookie of the Year still. I'm sticking with it, even over Luka Doncic. And I just think they get too much hate. All right, moving on. NBA hierarchy right now. So, right now it's really still the Warriors versus everyone, and I'm gonna stick to that. I know they've been struggling lately, but when Curry's on, Clay's on, that's been the key. Draymond has been shooting terribly. I think that will improve. Excuse me. Kevin Durant has been playing great, and once they get Marcus Cousins, it's game over. Excuse me, I don't know where it's coming from. But then there's the next tier, and Toronto, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, Indiana are all in that tier for me. I think, actually, I'm going to put Philadelphia and Indiana just a step below the other three. Even though the Celtics have been struggling, I still think I trust in Brad Stevens and the players to figure out. They just have too much talent and too much smarts. And then you got OKC could challenge, but they'd have to get lucky versus the Warriors. But the Rockets are still up there. The Rockets are still up there. Don't forget about the Rockets. I know CP3 just got hurt, but I was watching First Take, and Max Kellerman had a good, interesting point. This could work out well for them because CP3 could get injured, and then they could rest him on like back-to-backs and just ease him back in, and then he would be ready to get set for a playoff, for right before the playoffs, and then for the playoff run. And then before he got hurt, the Rockets looked like a championship team again. The Lakers, if they get Anthony Davis, which we'll talk about a little later, would be up there, but I don't think that'll happen it might happen this season, but as of right now, they're not in that tier. Anyway, moving on. NBA MVP candidates. So right now, it's Giannis's to lose. And before the season, I had AD over Giannis. AD hasn't looked himself this whole year for a little bit. He hasn't been grinding the paint as much. He's been playing a little more finesse, jump shotty than he used to play. And I think that's more towards what he wants to play now that they have Julius Randle who can bully in the paint. He can sort of like just be super skilled, which is what he is. But that has put him below Giannis for me, even though he has a three-point shot and Giannis doesn't. Even though Giannis' three-point shot is improving. Okay, and then we have Kawhi second, and then I think I would have LeBron and Jokic up there, and Paul George is definitely up there. I think I would have Paul George actually third. He's been on a tear. OKC's playing great. They're the best defensive team in the league. And yeah. Our NFL MVP race. So, before today, it was really, in my opinion, Mahomes and Rivers, whoever won the division. Now, after how Phillip Rivers played against the Ravens, 2 picks, and and no touchdowns. It's really Mahomes to lose. Mahomes is so far ahead of everyone else. Drew Brees lost it against the Panthers. Unless Mahomes wets the bed against the Seahawks, and then the following week, I don't see a change. Okay, moving on again. Pro Bowl snubs. Darius Leonard, and Andrew Luck. How did they not make it? I'm a huge Tom Brady fan, but I'm sorry, Andrew Luck deserved it over you. Check this out. Andrew Luck has played 14 games this season, most games. In the earlier season, he was still getting into it, but even with that, he has a 68.8 QBR, a 98.4 quarterback rating, 34 touchdowns, and only 13 interceptions. He also has 3,951 yards. I mean, that's really good. If the Colts make the playoffs, I would give him a MVP vote. And sadly, Tom Brady's not getting an MVP vote. And then Darius Leonard is leading the league in tackles as a rookie and just completely changed the Colts defense that was a joke into an actual, him and Malik Hooker and the scheming and a few other players. But the Colts are actually a decent defense now. And I don't understand how they didn't make it. All right, to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, and I'm going to talk about the trade to LA. He had dinner with LeBron, and obviously he has LeBron's agent. And obviously he's not winning in New Orleans. But New Orleans holds all the cards right now. And because Davis is on contract for not only this year, but the following year also. So I don't see, unless he requests a trade, which I don't see happening this year, he's not going anywhere. Unless they really fall down in the standings. Right now they're pretty low, much lower than what I thought they would be. But it's still salvageable. Right now I think they're 15 and 18 because they just lost to the Lakers, which is good for third worst in the West. But the West is so stacked right now. Literally every team is good. Every team is decent. Even Utah, and they've been playing much better lately. I think every team in the West would make the playoffs in the East. Every team. All right, moving on. Not moving on. Anthony Davis, another part of the trade is the Lakers have some good assets to trade for him, but the Celtics have even more assets. And the Pelicans don't want to help the Lakers. They're in the same conference. The Pelicans would much rather trade with the Celtics, who even have more to trade with them. The Celtics would have to give them Kyrie Irving if it was this season, and that's even better for right now than anything the Lakers could give them, besides LeBron, which they're obviously not trading. And it's not. I just don't see it happening this year for the Lakers. Maybe in the offseason. All right, moving on. Here are my Week 16 predictions. So I didn't have time, as I said, to put out a video before the Saturday games, but I posted a comment on my last video that showed that said that I picked the Titans and the Chargers. Of course, the Ravens won. I said it would be a really close game, and I didn't think they could pull it out. Excuse me. I didn't think they could pull it out because the Chargers are just so low around it, and Philip Rivers was playing really well. But Lamar Jackson is something special. I've been saying this before he was drafted. I thought he would be either the first or second best quarterback out of the draft class. And he's just incredible. He's spectacular. He just knows he makes the right decisions. He doesn't try to do too much. Like he needs a good defense, yes, but he's raw. He can only improve. All right, so moving on to the next games. Bengals and Browns. Browns are going to take this one. They just got eliminated from the playoffs with the Titans, but the Bengals don't have Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, or Dalton. That means no win. No win. Buccaneers at Cowboys. So the Cowboys are definitely going to win this because they actually have a defense, unlike the Buccaneers. And I think they bounce back after getting shut out from the Colts and get their offense going, and they actually will feed Zeke. Vikings at Lions. The Vikings are in a heated playoff hunt, and the Lions are not. So they could very well win this game. But I think even if they lose this game, they will make the playoffs, and I think they'll lose this game because it's in Detroit, and it's a tough divisional opponent, and I think Matt Patricia is getting this team going a little bit more defensively, and although they don't have Kerryon Johnson, I think Matthew Stafford has been underperforming this year, and I think he's due for a good game. Bills at Patriots. The Patriots are going to blow this out. I see this as a breakout game for Gronk. Everyone's been trashing him, saying he's not himself, saying the Patriots aren't himself. I'd say Sony Michel has a breakout game, and Tom Brady and Gronk have a breakout game to just shut up the haters. After Josh Gordon goes out, I think Gronk is the one to step up. Packers at Jets. This is a interesting game. Most people would pick the Packers. I'm going to pick the Jets because they're at home. They're playing tough. Todd Bowles has them playing really hard. Jamal Adams plays with so much energy, and they're not that bad of a team. Sam Darnold is still a baby, but they have a decent team. They get a few more pieces in this year's draft and sign a few people. Le'Veon Bell. They could be a really good team. Not really good. They could be a good team, maybe a playoff team. Texans at Eagles. I don't see a way the Eagles win this. Texans are a really good team and one of the scariest teams right now. And they have 10 wins. I don't see them ending the season with less than 11. They're playing much better than the Eagles. The Eagles don't have any cornerbacks. I know the Eagles just beat the Rams, but and with Nick Foles, I just don't see it. I think the Rams were just playing badly, and the Eagles brought the physicality to them, and that was really a wake-up call for the Rams. But I don't see that carrying over. Falcons at Panthers. No Cam Newton, no win. It's as simple as that. Falcons have Deion Jones back. He's playing well. Matt Ryan's playing better. Julio Jones is balling out. Tevin Coleman's playing well. They take this one. Giants at Colts. Colts, it's not close. Colts, I think, could make a playoff run. Not sure, but we'll see. Colts are just playing great ball with Andrew Luck and Darius Leonard, as I was talking about earlier, and they're just well balanced. Marlon Mack is even running the ball well. I love what Frank Reich is doing. Jaguars at Dolphins. This is a really tough game to call. Not a very interesting game. I don't like how the Dolphins are playing lately. And I think the Jaguars just have a much better defense. Even with the liability that Blake Bortles has been and Cody Kessler have been, the defense is still sixth, even with terrible field position and turnovers. And the defense is still balling out. If they get a quarterback next year and maybe another wide receiver to go with D.D. Westbrook, they're back to where they were. Rams at Cardinals. It's Rams not even close. The Rams bounce back against a weak opponent. I think they use this to really be physical and blow them out and get their mojo confidence back before the playoffs. Bears at 49ers. Bears also not close. Bears are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. I wouldn't want to play the Bears right now. Steelers at Saints. I know the Saints had a tough game with Panthers, but that was a tough game on the road against a divisional opponent, and Kuechly and Dante Jackson and Thomas Davis and all of them, they were playing very well. And so the Saints, I think they bounced back. I think Drew Brees bounced back against a weaker defense in the Steelers, and I think Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram have a good game. Michael Thomas, I don't think Joe Hayden can guard Michael Thomas, and I think the Saints smash the Steelers at home in the Dome. Chiefs at Seahawks. I'm picking the Seahawks in Seattle. Legion Boom, the 12th man. Very few QBs, let alone inexperienced QBs. I know Mahomes is different and he's the MVP, but very few people can come into Seattle and win, especially because the Seahawks are playing great football. I know last week they lost to the 49ers, but some of the calls in that game were just dreadful. Broncos at Raiders. I think the Broncos go into Oakland and win the game. They're a much better team. Philip Lindsay is running the ball well, and Bradley Chubb and Von Miller are a scary duo. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you like the video, subscribe. If you don't. And I have the hyperlinks to all the topics below in the comment section. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video.